Welcome to Wall Street Confidential. I didn't get a chance to discuss Paulson's plan with Jim Cramer when it was announced on Monday, so I definitely want to get your...
The plan's hysterical. I mean, what they're doing is basically saying, let's take power away from the SEC, which is a real regulator, and give it to the Fed, which isn't a regulator. Take power from by the way, there's 2 seats open in the SEC. They've really denuded the SEC. The Fed,
yes.
The Republicans, they just denuded the SEC, and they kind of took it away. So they put power with the Fed. Bernanke doesn't want that power at all, so it's really great. What this really is just a reaffirmation of the laissez-faire strategies of this administration, which are then going to produce a backlash of regulation that they never really thought about. The Fed does not want regulatory power. It has regulatory power in terms of margin. Notice it didn't take it during the dot-com boom, right? Mm-hmm. It could have raised margins. It had the ability to be able to regulate these hedge funds that were borrowing 31. It chose not to do it. The idea that they should get more regulatory power is just fanciful. But once again, I find, and this is why Wall Street Confidential I think is important, no one wants to say, well, Hank Paulson didn't do a good job. What good does he do?
He needs to do something. He needs to be out there speaking.
Well, I mean, this obviously won't get passed because the Democrats don't want it. But, you know, you listen all day and everyone's saying it's bold and it's the biggest change, and it won't mean a thing. And it won't happen. And if it did happen, it would be a step back because you take the power out of the real regulatory body, but that's okay. They've destroyed that by not having enough commissioners. And you give it to the Fed. What you're doing, once again, is coming up with a total laissez-faire, anti-regulatory posture, which totally fits the president's view. So Paulson's doing the president's work. The president curiously absent from virtually everything, and it's a step back in terms of regulation. It's a step back to, like for instance, here's an example. They said that the SEC should merge with the Commodities Future Trading Commission. Well, there's a group of senators that are very close to the Commodities Future Trading Commission. They'll never let that happen. Senators from Illinois, it just won't happen. I mean, so like, why bother to propose it? It won't happen. We're a democracy, and every one of these little constituencies would be against this. So Paulson issues this. I think it muddles the water. What we really want is the FHA to put $300 billion in loans. We got rid of that FHA guy who all he was doing was struggling over the Kenny Gamble loan that he gave in Philadelphia. I mean, this administration is such a joke, such a catastrophe for this moment. But it would be great. You give FHA $300 billion, and Fed issues paper and buys $200 billion in mortgages. Fed makes money on that. FHA is stretch out the mortgages, gets rid of the foreclosures that are there, and you isolate the 2005 to 2007 mortgage vintage. If we could then isolate it to Florida, California, they split all these things up. It's very hard to do it, but isolate Florida, California, Nevada, Phoenix, Michigan, and Illinois, and Indiana, and you're home free. You're just home for some of Ohio. You're home free. That's how close we are. But that would take hands-on nature. Now, what they've done by spreading things out and doing everything wrong, they're ending up going to cost us hundreds of billions more than I thought they were going to cost us just if they acted acted in August. But again, this is like, you go back to your political science classes, and you just know that there's 2 kinds of government. There's a government that is about promoting and protecting, and then there's a government that's like the Leviathan, where it does very little other than defense. And that's where we are, and we should accept it. And when you read, you should think very skeptically about what Paulson's doing, because when I read every inch of it, it was an abdication of regulation.
All right. I think that's online. I think people can download that. Thank you very much, Jim Cramer, on Paulson's plan. This is Wall Street Confidential. Don't go away.